Today I want to talk about my background and how I grow up my art style. I'm at my parents' place for Christmas, so I can collect some of my art from my teenage time when I started drawing more consistently, and I want to show you some of my stuff that were crucial for my art style development. My name is Luigi, also known on social media as Illustrazioni di Lut, and I am a mixed media artist, self-taught, and a physicist. Before we start with this video, please remember to subscribe and click on the notification bell if you want to get notification on my new videos. Let us start with this big drawing of Death Note that I did. It's a complicated drawing with a collection of all the characters from Death Note. That was my favorite manga. As you may know, my main background is manga. This was the arrival point after several years of practice. I started drawing more consistently around the age of 12, mainly copying Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball, and all these cartoons that I was watching in the TV. This was basically my starting point. Then I was developing my own art style, my own original characters, and so on. Basic was starting to copy. That's how I learned to draw the main things like facial gesture, facial features, and I learned how to ink with fine liners in this way. I had quite an obsession after Dragon Ball, also for Saint Seiya. Was drawing a lot of this. This is for my third middle school, so the final exam. I was, I think, around 13 years old. This was the time when I realized what I really liked, starting from Kill Bill, the movie, that was my favorite ever, and Tekken video game. Of course, I was in love with Milo Manara's drawings, and I was reading Naruto, Tokyo Babylon from the Clamp. So in the beginning, I started reading Kenshin. This was my very first manga. But then I started looking to the comics more for the drawing than for the story itself. And I started reading like this Inferno e Paradiso, that the original name is Tenju Tenge. And my favorite one, that was Death Note. And there were many fighting comics as well in the middle. Alright, I found quite a lot of stuff in the chaos of my bedroom. As you can see, I was drawing on mainly everything. Also very cheap paper, paper from the pharmacy, paper from the school. Let's dive in. We have some original work from really first years of the middle schools to the beginning of the university. Now I will find a way to show you, because I don't have my phone holder here, so I need to arrange something. So I found some kind of solution with a selfie stick. Here are a sum up of my most important things of my beginning era of drawing. This is from the middle school, the second and third year, I think. It's very basic drawing, some classmates, so really nothing special. Now that I see them, they are quite ugly actually. The collection of my most important drawings when I was 14, 15 years old. I was posting them in a website called manga.it, making my first community. Other artists from Italy. My pseudonym of Lut was my name plus surname. I think these are a bit more recent because Death Note is not that old. There is a signature but without a date, so I don't know. And I was starting my first comics before realizing that, well, making comics was not my thing. It was very long and time-wasting. People can read them in like a second. But definitely these are more recent, because I was able to draw anatomy and so create stuff by my own. Here is a plot of a comics I was creating with a classmate. And this is inspired by, I guess, Card Captor Sakura, a lot by the comics I showed you before, Tenju Tenge or Inferno e Paradiso. And I was creating my original characters. And also Oh My Godness was a comics I was inspired. This one, this very strong perspective. I was very proud of this one. Oh, also this one I was really proud of. And this is my character name was Nairobi, I think, original character, and Subaru was like the male part of him. And I was using colors at that time with Pantone. It was like the ancestor of Copic markers. A self-portrait of mine at the age of 16. I really loved also the drawing of Slam Dunk, but they were quite complicated to reproduce. This was reposted also on a magazine with a wrong name, actually, so I was very sad about that. At the age of 14, original character, Kitana. This was clearly Oh My Godness style. My very first comics, as you can see, quite splatter stuff. This was also comics. I did quite a bit of comics actually, but then I stopped completely doing them. And I decided that illustration was much faster and more satisfying. This is like a Kill Bill version of mine. These are very small drawings I wanted to show you. This was my cat and some character study, very quickly sketched with pencil mainly, no colors, no ink, just studies. And I think in this way I slowly create my own style and decided what I liked most in terms of also of cross-etching. Was copying a lot of the mangas I was reading, as I said. Cartoon I was watching mainly on TV and MTV. There was used to be a Japanese night in the, I think, Tuesday evening. So nothing particularly complicated, but a lot of studies. Story, plots of possible comics. Quite a lot of stuff, as you can see, never ending. This was my dad when I was sleeping. Anatomy, gesture drawing, and like more complicated expression and positions. The fancy thing here was that I was doing this during school, during the class, and you shouldn't do it, but was basically passing this back and forth with a friend of mine, and we were creating a comics on real time during the classes. Yeah, I was drawing also on top of my Stealth Assassins was a story I was creating with some assassins on a ship, like a modern Hunger Games, we can say. Maybe the presentation of these stealth assassins with the main characters and the motto that was do not trust anyone. Other characters from this, and every character of course was inspired by something that I enjoyed. Here I was already aware of my inspirations and my art style, and I was focusing mainly on anatomy and facial expression and lots of details. This is all before my university studies, because then I stopped completely for more than 10 years. Before lockdown and COVID pandemic, I started again afterwards. So it's now 3 years that I draw, I would say, as much as that time. Like this kind of perspective and facial features. Not everything was very good, but I was really enjoying doing it, and I think enjoying doing it was my secret to improve. The more you enjoy, the more time you spend on it, the more you exercise, the more you practice, the more you become better and better. There is no other way actually to improve and to find an art style, in my opinion. You can be as good as you want, but if you don't practice, there is no improvement. It's like just like everything. Studies from masters. As I said, I was drawing on everything. I was like preparing myself to start the university. So it was that time of the year, right before I ended up with drawings for a long time. At that time I was having, in the past I think 6 months of high school class at International School of Comics. So I was making also these comics for the final examination of the high school. This one was for a class that I had. Here I tried with many characters in a single stripe of the comic. This is the final work. I didn't remember this. It was like an angel saving somebody. I remember. It was just 5 pages. This was the final one. I think after that I got quite a immediate stop on my work. So guys, this was my excursus of my drawing from the age of 12, I would say, till 19 years old. Then I had a long stop, like more than 10 years before the pandemic and so on. And I started again lately. It's now 3 years I draw consistently, means almost every day. And I started also watercolor. If you really like it, keep doing it. Also just 10-minute sketches, as much as you can. Every day in the best case, just choose maybe a couple of days in the week where you want to commit, or a moment in the day during the evening, or for me works the best. Keep going, copy the things you like. Copying is not lying on your artwork, actually it's the way you develop your art style. So keep doing it and you will see improvements. At least to me it was like that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you wanna leave a comment, I would be happy to know what can I improve or what you wanna see next. Please subscribe if you still didn't, and hit the notification bell. Hope to see you soon in the next video, and I wish you a nice Christmas time. Ciao!